line underwear model gig, right? Deep down, they know that they're idiots, but they can hide their idiocy from themselves if they stay away from competent people, or they use the wonderful phrase that mostly monkeys use, which is, "You're overthinking this."
Oh, I've heard that. Oh my God.
You're overthinking this. It's like, no, I'm not overthinking anything, you idiot. I'm just thinking. That's all. I mean, who says to Jessica Alba, "You're over sexifying this. You're over attractive this." I mean, whoever says to a Danica Patrick, "You're over fasting your car," or to somebody who's in the Boston Marathon, "You're overrunning this race." It's like, no, it's, they're just running. And so when people say they're overthinking, what they're saying is, my monkey brain cannot process your higher primate concepts, and therefore I'm going to assume that not that I'm deficient, but that you have too muchness, right? You're over tall. Like, no, then you're just saying that you feel short, right? If you say you feel short, that's fine. Say, "I feel short next to you," not, "Steph, you're over tall." It's just ridiculous, right? And I mean, we are surrounded by mostly monkeys. And, if you start a business, if you try to get people to do anything in this goddamn universe, you will realize that we are surrounded by mostly monkeys. And they're, baldish monkeys, and a lot of them know how to operate a smartphone because Candy Crush is fun, but they are mostly monkeys. And when you and I are learning how to program computers and reading our Rothbard and reading our Mises and reading our Rand and reading our Aristotle, right? They are watching army wives and tearing up with sentimentality about the fallen, wounded warriors of the general imperialistic propaganda. And we have to be careful because these idiots have votes. And we have to be careful because these idiots can punch. And when you arise like some glorious white ice maleficent demon of thought with his snowy beating wings over the darkened troll-like orcish landscape of human ignorance, people get startled and they lash out. "Oh, I thought I was tall. I just met a man who's 25 feet tall. He is over tall. I must punch his kneecaps because it is a sin against my shortness to be over tall," right? And there's a lot of aggression and bullying, and this is why nerds get bullied, because nerds make jocks feel as stupid as they generally are, and frustrated, right? They get frustrated, and and of course the only reason why mostly monkeys survive is that women will breed with mostly monkeys, and so on. So they just did a study that came out recently where women ogle genitalia a lot more than men do. Men mostly look at faces and then maybe look at boobs and butt or whatever, but women go straight to the genitals, like this homing periscope beacon of estrogen base suction padding. So look, the reality is, be empirical. You are surrounded by mostly monkeys who are threatened by your intellectual capacity, and my suggestion is stay as far away from them as humanly possible. Vampires are not smooth and suave and debonair and all kinds of George Hamilton cocoa butter tans from the underworld. The human vampires are just these tiny little dull people who want to wrap you in their dismal, dank, dripping, bat-infested caves of small-minded inconsequentiality. They don't want you to break through the surface and head for the skies. They just want you to stay down and stay small. And they're basically saying, don't make me feel stupid. Don't make me feel stupid. Because stupid people don't get that the whole point of intelligence is to make you feel stupid. What's the whole point of thinking? Is to go to new places which you're not good at. Most people, they want repetition. "Oh, this show is on Friday night. I like this bar. This is my beer. This is my town. This is my costumed group of people who kicked down the ball down the fieldings. And that's my repetition. I'm going to have a relationship with my wife that was pretty much the same as my parents' relationship with each other. I'm just going to repeat stuff that I did before because I don't want to feel stupid and put myself in new situations where I don't know what's going on. So I'm just going to get stuck in this Groundhog Day revolving day door of the same day over and over and over and over and over and over again. So I never don't know what to do. Whereas smart people are like, oh my God, I'm so bored. I know this stuff already. Oh my God, give me something new. Give me something new. That's what I'm always doing, is let me find something new that blows my mind. Let me find something new that I'm stupid about. Like I've just started doing a whole lot of research on immigration. And I don't I don't know what the hell's going on. I love people who blow my mind, which means they make me feel like an idiot because I am mostly an idiot. That's called being smart, is to know that you're mostly an idiot. What do I really know about quantum physics? And what do I really know about Planck? And what do I really know about Tesla? And what do I really know about electromagnetics? And what do I really know about Pashtian foreign policy? Like, I mean, there's just so many things that I don't know. You know, I'd like my intelligence to even be one star in an infinite night sky, but it's not even that. It's like a firefly on the far side of a black hole. And so I love people who come and blow my mind, right? I love Socrates. I love Aristotle. I love Rand. I love Coulter. I love the people who just, I don't agree with everything they say, and so what, right? But the point is they blow my mind. And that's the whole point. When you have intelligence, you constantly want to feel like an idiot, because that means you're learning something new. If you don't have intelligence, you can't stand feeling like an idiot because you are one. My ego can handle being completely incompetent at something and not knowing crap about anything because I have the intelligence to know that that is the necessary part of the acquisition of wisdom and knowledge and all that kind of stuff, right? I mean, people think that my theory on ethics, universally preferable behavior, is something arrogant. And I've mentioned this before, but it's just ridiculous. I'm basically saying when I publish an article, which I guess I did first in 2006, and then the book came in, I think, 2008. I'm basically saying I'm in my 40s and I don't know what right and wrong is. I don't know what good and evil is. And my whole life prior to this has been based upon a lack of knowledge. Now, to know the value of pursuing secular ethics and the implicit admission when putting out a book on ethics, which is to say, before this, I didn't know what ethics was. I was guiding my life on wings of bullshit in the darkness with a spinning compass. And all great leaps forward in knowledge are a confession of prior incompetence. And only intelligent people know the value of that and are willing to do it. Dumb people will not admit the value of feeling dumb. Because for you and I, we can study something and escape the feeling of being dumb, but dumb people can never escape that feeling. So if they admit that they're dumb, well, they're just, I guess, recognizing their incapacities. Now, I mean, Ayn Rand wrote a lot of the sort of Eddie Willer's characters, I think his name was. Average people who could appreciate really great people. I'm not a great singer, but I love to hear. I love to sing, but I love to hear a great singer. Because I'm like, oh my God, I'd love to be able to open my mouth and, just that beautiful tone and sound that people make almost effortlessly sometimes. But so I am not a good singer, but I can appreciate a good singer. But most people who are not intelligent cannot appreciate great intelligence. They can only appreciate great intelligence when it shows up from central casting, when it shows up in a stereotypical manner. Einstein, he looks like a mad professor, so he's smart, right? Whereas other people don't look that way and therefore don't get the same. You know, he was a cliche in terms of how he looked and how he acted and so on, which is not to say he wasn't a genius. Of course he was. So I think that's just really, really important to understand. Funniest thing, again, just it's tragic. You know, people talk about entitlement mentality. I mean, how on earth does the average person imagine that they get a say equal to a political genius when it comes to how society ought to be run? I mean, again, democracy only appeals to mostly monkeys because only mostly monkeys think that their vote equals the vote of an intelligent and competent person. right? Like they understand when it comes to something more direct, which they can steal from, they understand like, okay, so you stay awake during the appendicitis operation and then, you and the surgeon will debate about which cut to do next. They'd be like, no, put me out, cut. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Put me out, cut, and stitch me back up. You're the expert, right? So they get that with that kind of stuff. But when it comes to, I don't know, how to organize national defense, what currency should be, how to educate children, suddenly every naked ape with an asshole and an opinion considers himself a stone genius that's able to pierce through the lies of self-interested politicians, throw the spear over the hedge and have it land in the bullseye of a perfect future. And that's entitlement. And that's entitlement. And then you say to people, you don't really know as much as other people about stuff. You really don't know as much about other people's stuff. You can't make as good an arguments. You think you're making arguments, but you're just making syllable sounds with your eating hole. And they're just shocked and appalled because their whole life they've been told, one man, one vote. You are equal to everyone else. You have the soul. You have the soul of Einstein. Einstein just had bigger hair and a better job at the patent office. And the reality is most people are way short and we're trying to get them taller. We're not going to have a free society until people are willing to examine information that runs counter to their immediate emotional preferences and the emotional preferences of the idiots around them. And this is the ultimate, Gulliver's Travels, right? Where the Gulliver is a giant and he gets the Lilliputians throw all these little ropes and keep him bound up and tied. Oh, this is a great intelligence or a great mind among the petty, nearly mostly ape average. That until we can get people to be smart enough to be able to process information that runs counter to their emotional preferences, we're not going to have a free society. Why the hell do I focus on not hitting children, on raising them peacefully? Because that will raise IQ to the point where we might actually have the capacity to change people's minds. Because right now, we're lecturing to a bag of hammers, right? We are trying to change the minds of a bucket of rocks. And we are trying to throw our seeds onto red-hot Georgia asphalt. And then, hey, nothing's growing, man. What's going on? What's the matter? I keep writing on my blog and doing my podcast and talking to people. I keep throwing water on the seeds on Georgia asphalt. I'm not getting any trees. What's wrong? Well, what's wrong is that we are not recognizing the secular truth that the brain is an organ that is mostly damaged by religion, by parents, by culture, by what laughingly is called education these days. And we can't change the education. We can talk people out of religion, and we can talk parents into being better parents. That moves the seeds from the middle of the road to the side of the road. And that means that we can grow intelligence to the point where people will be able to process information counter to their immediate emotional preferences.